As members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have the chance to partake of this sacrament almost every Sunday. And the sacrament is usually administered by young men who hold what's called the Aaronic priesthood. There are deacons who pass the sacrament, teachers who prepare the sacrament, and priests who bless the sacrament up at the sacrament table. And I had a little bit of a funny story that happened when I became a priest. And in telling this, I don't want to take away at all from the reverence and importance of the sacrament. I just think it's a little bit fun to talk about what it's really like to be a member of the church and some of the things that happen when we're a member. So I have a twin brother, and he and I would have become priests at the same time. When we were growing up, this would have been right after we turned 16. And so the first time we were at the sacrament table, we were up there with an older boy. And for purposes of this video, I'm going to say that his name was Gary. And at the sacrament table at any LDS, at any Latter-day Saint meeting house, there'll be a card that has the blessing on the bread on one side and the blessing on the water on the other side. By the way, if you're not Latter-day Saint, what we call the sacrament in our church is similar to what other Christian churches might call communion or the sacrament of the Lord's Supper. It's done to remember Jesus at the Last Supper when he distributed the bread and the wine and asked his followers to always remember him. So my brother and I had both become priests, and here we are at the sacrament table with this older boy, and he says, "Eric, I'm going to pass you this card, and the blessing on the bread is going to be facing up. So when you're going to kneel down and say the blessing on the bread, and then give the card to me." Now, and then he said to my brother, whose name is Scott, he said, "Now, Scott, when I pass you the card, I'm going to turn it over so the blessing on the water is facing up. So, Scott, when you get the card, make sure that you don't turn it over, because if you were to turn it over, you would say the blessing on the bread again, which we don't want. However, if I," Gary says, "if I forget to turn the card over, then when I give it to you, it will in fact have the blessing on the bread facing up. And so you will need to turn it over so the blessing on the water is facing up." And I think my brother and I were kind of like, it just seemed a little bit of an unduly complicated way of explaining the situation. What he might have said, this older boy, is, "You've just got to be sure if you're going to pray over the bread that the card has the prayer on the bread. If you're praying over the water, you need to say the prayer that corresponds to that." So that was something we have remembered over the years. I do want to say that in addition to benefiting from having this sacrament almost every week as a member of the church, it is a privilege to be able to help administer the sacrament. As an older man, you don't get the chance a whole lot because the work is normally done by the young men. But there are times, even when I have been older, when I've been able to pass the sacrament or help prepare it or say the prayers. And it's a true privilege and honor, and I always feel a sacred sense of duty when I'm asked to do that. Thanks for listening.